My name is Ari Donio. I'm from Franklin Lakes. I need 6 minutes, please. And if it's okay, then there's a person here who will stand by me and give me their 3 minutes. So, okay. I think that for the codes of ethics, there's also something against campaigning in a public meeting like this. I think I heard like 8 people campaigning for themselves. I don't know, embarrassing at most. For me, King comment was very accurate, actually. An hour, and you can divide it however you want. Ms. King forgot to check that at that particular meeting, we were allowed 30 minutes, and then the board extended it by 18. You owe us 12 minutes. Go to the video. You can shake your head. Go to the video. You owe us 12 minutes of First Amendment rights on the bad decision that you did for passing the curriculum. Okay? Now, I'll take and ask the lawyer again to review Times versus Sullivan, and the other one I mentioned versus the Board of Education here, Bester versus Board of Education in New Jersey. I guess they actually awarded him like 100 grand for that, you know, so that can be costly. Now to why I'm here. I'm here because I sent emails and nobody responds, so I asked for the board to actually read my email out loud, which is common practice in many other school boards. So I want to read it here. It's going to take me more than 3 minutes, so again, I'm going to ask for more time. And I say, hello, members of the board, minus Mr. Caroline, you weren't here. I kind of like, in the last meeting, or 2 meetings ago, where curriculum was passed 5-3 by the board, we talked about it. We didn't allow the public to respond after that, which, besides the fact, I just feel it's kind of like a cowardice. I mean, don't you want to hear what the public has to say about you passing the board, the vote? I'd like to take the opportunity to respond to what I see as a bad vote. A month ago, at that meeting, there was a nice young lady who discussed hers and her Jordanian boyfriend's experience here in RIH and in one of the district's towns. She mentioned an experience where her boyfriend caused minimal damage to somebody's lawn and was too afraid or embarrassed to knock on that person's door and leave his information and his offer to compensate for the damages. She mentioned that it is because he was Jordanian and belonged to the Islamic faith in a predominantly white and Christian community. Because of his concern, he had to ask her, his girlfriend, who grew up in this community, to come up with him and knock on the door. She mentioned how she remembered the lady's eyes, in quotes, and that there was no mistake about how she looked at him. And this is part of the reason it is so important to teach diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'd like to ask, can you step up and give me your 3 minutes? Please? 1? Yeah, they can. Yes, they can. They absolutely can. Yeah, can she give me a minute?
My name is Ardith Cardenas. I'm one of the right-wing extremists that Mr. Fortunato was talking about. I'm baffled, and I donate the rest of my time. Hand it over to Ari.
Thank you.
It's actually not board policy to allow that, so sorry.
So I'll ask the board to make a motion to extend
All
my
members
time.
of the public need to be given a chance to speak before a speaker can speak twice.
She gave me her time.
All members of the public.
So if you just sit down, and I'll see
right.
if anyone else wants to speak. Any other members of the public?
Cynthia Phillips, Wyckoff, New Jersey. Wyckoff, yeah. My question is directed again to Mr. Rashika. I appreciate your response this evening and your email. My question wasn't really to throw you under the bus. I wasn't saying that, oh, you should have enforced the mandate, the mask mandate strictly. That wasn't my point. My point was that if the teachers union is going to issue a letter of no confidence that was then published in the NJ.com, then it was on the front page of the suburban local news. It was posted by the RIHE and tons of parents all over social media. Mrs. LaForgia's name is now attached to that. And the fact of the matter is that you did not enforce the mask mandate because there was flexibility or whatever. I don't disagree with you. I think you should be. Who wants to get into a fight with people? But the fact of the matter is, unless the teachers union holds you to the same standard, then that letter should be retracted and it should be spread throughout all the community so that everybody knows that they were in error when they sent that out, because that's only fair. And my comment to Mr. Fortunato, I think it's pretty disgraceful that you would sit here and look at your constituents who you know are Republican and conservative and toe that disgusting line that they do in the mainstream media and everything else, that we're right-wing crazy people, like right-wing extremists. I think it's very irresponsible. I think it's highly disrespectful, and we deserve better than that. Okay, these are good, God-fearing people who love their kids, and just because they disagree with you doesn't mean that you get to call them names. And Mrs. Bennett, who also says that we're all a bunch of hate, anti-LGBTQ, nothing could be further from the truth. So many of my family members are gay or whatever. I really don't care. But to sit here and label people just because they disagree with you, that is a far cry from everything that you advocate about tolerance and inclusiveness. Okay? You have to walk the talk. Okay? Thank you very much.
Any other board members like to come up and speak? What's that? I'm sorry, members of the public, sorry.
Kim Anch, Franklin Lakes. So, Dr. Ashika, just to be clear, your decision to cancel the in-person back-to-school night based on your answer tonight was not based on any science or any data, but on your own personal opinion after your COVID experience. At least that's what I understood that you said. I'm sorry that you had such a horrible and scary experience. I really am, and I'm glad that you're better and you're here with us. But the fact is, the majority of students who contract COVID are either asymptomatic or have very mild symptoms. The students are in school every day with each other, the teachers, coaches, everyone, and they're fine. So how is doing a virtual back-to-school night protecting the students? The students won't even be there, but the teachers will be there. And that's the problem, isn't it? The teachers, maybe the teachers union doesn't want it to be in person and they put pressure on you. I don't know, I'm just guessing, okay? And maybe that made you more scared because of the experience that you had. And I say the teachers union, not the teachers, because I know plenty of teachers who want to meet in person and meet us. I had a freshman last year who's now a sophomore. I have a freshman now also at Ramapo. So 2 children, 2 years, I'm not allowed in the school. I can't come in. I have to make an appointment if I want to come in for anything. I can't come to back to school night in person so I can get a feel for the school where my children are every day. And I have to walk, interact. None of the parents turn their cameras on. I don't see other parents. I can't get into. I've had 2 children come to a brand new school, and I won't be in their school for 2 years until my oldest daughter is a junior. That's not okay, and I'm sorry, but you can't place your fears on everyone else. How many cases have we even had? How many emails? Barely any, where you've sent out the contagious disease email. Okay, so everybody's doing fine. There's no reason to cancel the back-to-school night, and virtual is not the same, so you effectively canceled it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Audrey Souders, Oakland. I also want to agree with what Kim said about back to school night. I was very disappointed. I have a sophomore now in Indian Hills, and I haven't been in the school at all last year or this year, which is something I would really like to experience. Something else I want to add is I have an 8th grader who needs to come to open house. And I will be extremely upset because this is going to be a very important decision as to where he goes to high school if he stays in this district. These children need to come to the open house, all these 8th graders. And so the reasoning, I don't even want to get into the reasoning. It's just so we're going to have a bunch of middle schoolers in the school next week. And it has to happen. It has to happen. These children need to see each school, they need to see what programs are available to them and where they're going to choose to go to high school. It's imperative. And the other thing I wanted to ask again was about the energy audit, if that's available to the public. Thank you.
Hi, Amy Eilert from Oakland. I just wanted to respond to some of the things that we heard tonight. Also from a parent, I understand your feeling about your kids needing open houses and being able to see where they're going to be going. And it's frustrating and it's hard, and I can imagine how you feel. I felt the same way when I took my son to Indiana University without being able to do a tour of the campus.
Please address the board.
The first time I dropped him off, it was sight unseen. And it was hard, and I understand that, but these are not normal times. So we have to try to be resilient. Schools already have plenty of restrictions aimed at protecting the health of kids. Rules against peanuts are a good example. Those rules are aimed at protecting kids with potentially fatal peanut allergies that can be triggered by particles in the air. Similarly, argument goes, kids especially vulnerable to COVID-19 need everyone else to wear a mask so they don't get sick. If you think about it, government oversight touches every part of our lives. Each morning, we eat food made from FDA-approved ingredients, maybe take FDA-approved medications. We climb into our cars, fasten our federally mandated seatbelts. While we drive the state speed limit, we probably turn on the radio to hear stations broadcasting according to FCC guidelines, and perhaps see motorists wearing state-required helmets. We then spend the day at our offices with OSHA posters plastered in the lunchrooms and stating no smoking requirements. Few people question these restrictions, and like them, a mask mandate is not an example of government overreach, but rather another reasonable policy intended to help keep us safe, so long as this government safety measure is neutral and generally applicable and promotes medical necessity. It does not violate the Constitution, and courts must defer to public health experts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lila Bennett-Jones, Franklin Lakes. I just want to say, as a student, I think the way that the board discusses different topics and their own opinions, I think it's really time wasting. I believe the time should be really useful and to make the two schools better and to help out the students. I don't think there should be conflict and yelling at each other about your own different opinions. I think it should be about, to the point, what the topics are, what needs to get done. I don't think talking and fighting it out between each other is making anything better. It's wasting the time that is needed to make the two schools better. And I also believe that the way the public is handled, it's pretty bad, if you ask me. Like, people are just talking and yelling at the stage, and I think it's just also wasting time. Thank you.